Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor in a world where people constantly seek attention. The one who understands the power of absence wields true influence. Human nature is such that we take for granted what is always available, but we admire and long for what is rare and difficult to obtain. By strategically withdrawing from time to time, you create an aura of mystery, increase your value, and ensure that people respect and desire your presence. The danger of being too available. There was once a brilliant court advisor who was loved by the king. His wisdom was unmatched, and his advice was sought on every matter. However, he was always present, always speaking, and always offering counsel. Over time, the king grew tired of him, finding his constant presence suffocating. One day, the king dismissed him, replacing him with someone new and unfamiliar. The advisor, who had once been indispensable, had become forgettable because he never allowed himself to be missed. This fate befalls many who fail to recognize the power of absence. The more accessible you are, the less value people place on you. Familiarity breeds contempt, and overexposure dulls your brilliance in the eyes of others. Why absence increases respect and honor. When you step away from a place, a person, or a situation, you create a void. That void makes people realize your importance. Just like a rare gem that is admired for its uniqueness, your absence makes your presence more desirable. When you return, you are met with renewed admiration, as people now appreciate what they had once taken for granted. Great figures throughout history have mastered this law. Leaders, artists, and strategists have all used disappearance as a tool to maintain influence. When they returned, they commanded even greater attention than before. Historical lessons from this law. Napoleon's exile and return. After Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to Elba, many thought his influence had ended. But his absence only made the French people long for his leadership. When he returned, he was welcomed as a hero, and his supporters rallied behind him with renewed passion. Had he stayed in France, constantly fighting for relevance, he might have been forgotten or overthrown much earlier. The legend of Laozi, the great Chinese philosopher and founder of Taoism, wrote the Tao Te Ching and then vanished from civilization. His disappearance only increased his mystique, and his teachings became legendary. Had he remained among the people, his wisdom might have been debated and diluted, but his absence made his words sacred. How to apply this law? 1. Step away before you become commonplace. If you sense that people are starting to take you for granted, withdraw. Whether in relationships, business, or social circles, distance will remind them of your importance. Do not wait until you are ignored. Leave when your presence is still desired. 2. Create an aura of mystery. When you reveal too much, you lose your intrigue. Make people wonder about you, what you are doing, and what you are thinking. The less they know, the more they will speculate and admire. 3. Time your return for maximum impact. Absence alone is not enough. You must know when to return. Come back when people miss you the most, when your influence is needed, or when your presence will make the biggest impact. This ensures that your return is met with enthusiasm, not indifference. 4. Balance presence and absence. You must be careful not to disappear for too long. If you stay away indefinitely, people will move on. The key is to step away just enough to create longing, but not so much that you are forgotten. The consequences of ignoring this law. Those who fail to understand this law often become overexposed and lose their charm. Celebrities who constantly seek attention eventually become uninteresting. Leaders who make themselves too available are not taken seriously. Friends who never give space end up being ignored. Conversely, those who master the art of strategic absence maintain their value. They are seen as rare, important, and desirable. Their influence grows even in their absence, and when they return, they are met with renewed admiration. Final thought: make them miss you. Power is not just about being present, it is about being desired. If you are always there, you become invisible. But if you step away at the right moments, people will realize how much they need you. Learn when to leave, and you will always be welcomed back with honor. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. In the game of power, predictability is a weakness. When people can anticipate your next move, they prepare for it, counter it, or, worse, take you for granted. The truly powerful understand that uncertainty creates fear, respect, and control. By being unpredictable, you make it impossible for others to manipulate you, and you keep them in a state of constant vigilance. This unpredictability forces people to tread carefully around you, giving you the upper hand in every interaction. The power of unpredictability. Imagine a king whose temper was impossible to read. One day, he rewarded a servant for a minor mistake, and the next, he punished a noble for a small offense. His court never knew what would please or anger him. As a result, they walked on eggshells, constantly trying to appease him, fearing his unpredictable nature. This king ruled not just with laws but with the uncertainty of his reactions. Compare this to a ruler who is entirely predictable. His subjects know exactly what he will do in every situation. Over time, they find ways to exploit his consistency, manipulate his decisions, and take his power for granted. Predictability breeds complacency and invites challenge. Why unpredictability creates fear and control. Humans crave stability. We feel secure when we understand patterns, behaviors, and reactions. When something or someone breaks that pattern, we feel unsettled, even fearful. The uncertainty forces us to be cautious, to think twice before acting, and to treat the unpredictable person with greater respect. This is why some of history's most powerful figures mastered unpredictability. Their erratic behavior made them feared, and that fear gave them control. Historical lessons from this law. Genghis Khan's unpredictable warfare. Genghis Khan, the ruthless Mongol leader, was a master of unpredictability. His enemies never knew when or where he would strike. Sometimes, he would negotiate peace, and when the opposing side relaxed, he would unleash destruction. Other times, he would suddenly withdraw from battle, only to return with even greater force. His unpredictability kept his enemies in a state of terror, making it nearly impossible to defeat him. Richard Nixon's Madman Theory. During the Cold War, US President Richard Nixon used unpredictability as a strategy. He wanted America's enemies to believe he was irrational and capable of extreme actions. This Madman Theory made other nations hesitate before provoking the US, fearing Nixon might overreact. By cultivating an aura of unpredictability, he maintained a psychological edge in diplomacy. How to apply this law. 1. Keep people guessing. If others always know what you will do next, you give them the power to predict and control you. Instead, change your routine, vary your responses, and occasionally do the opposite of what is expected. This keeps people on edge and prevents them from manipulating you. 2. Use unpredictability to gain respect. Being too kind or too cruel at all times makes you easy to read. Instead, mix your actions, reward unexpectedly, punish unpredictably, and make people uncertain about how you will react. This forces them to treat you with caution and respect. 3. Control the narrative. People fear what they do not understand. If you create an air of mystery around yourself, through silence, sudden changes, or unpredictable decisions, people will become unsure of your true thoughts and capabilities. This uncertainty gives you power. 4. Know when to return to stability. While unpredictability is powerful, too much of it can make you seem unreliable or insane. The key is balance. Be unpredictable enough to keep people on edge, but stable enough that they still trust your leadership and authority. The consequences of ignoring this law. Those who are too predictable become easy targets. Their enemies and competitors learn their habits, manipulate their choices, and ultimately weaken their power. On the other hand, those who are wildly unpredictable without strategy risk alienation and chaos. The true masters of power use unpredictability as a tool, not a reckless habit. Final thought: be feared, Not ignored power comes not just from strength, but from the perception of strength. If people know exactly what you will do, they stop fearing you. But if they are never sure, they will treat you with caution, respect, and even fear. Master the art of unpredictability, and you will always hold the upper hand. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. In a world full of power struggles, betrayals, and hidden agendas, the instinct to withdraw and protect oneself is natural. However, isolating yourself from people and the flow of information does not make you safer. It makes you vulnerable. Those who cut themselves off from others lose touch with reality, become easy targets, and lack the influence needed to maintain power. True strength lies in staying connected, forming alliances, and using the web of human relationships to your advantage. The illusion of safety in isolation. Imagine a king who, fearing assassination, locks himself away in a fortress. He avoids court gatherings, distrusts his advisors, and refuses to interact with his subjects. At first, he feels secure within the high walls, protected from immediate threats. But over time, he becomes blind to what is happening beyond his walls. His enemies spread rumors, his allies drift away, and when the final blow comes, he is unprepared and powerless to stop it. Isolation may seem like protection, but it is a slow death. When you remove yourself from people, you lose access to information, weaken your influence, and give your enemies the freedom to act without fear of retaliation. Why staying connected is key to power. Power is not built in solitude. It thrives on networks, relationships, and influence. Those who remain engaged in social and political circles are the ones who can anticipate threats, shape narratives, and build alliances that protect them. Even the most powerful rulers, businessmen, and leaders depend on their connections to stay in control. Consider the difference between two leaders, one who isolates himself in paranoia and one who surrounds himself with loyal allies. The isolated leader falls because he is unaware of the shifting tides of power, while the connected leader survives because he can adapt, persuade, and counter threats before they grow too strong. Historical lessons from this law. Louis XIV's control through socialization. King Louis XIV of France understood that power was best maintained through presence, not isolation. Instead of withdrawing into a fortress, he built the Palace of Versailles, where he kept his nobles close, entertained, and constantly engaged in his court. By surrounding himself with people, he ensured that he controlled information, prevented conspiracies, and remained the center of influence in his kingdom. The fall of the last Russian Tsar Nicholas II of Russia made the mistake of isolating himself from his people. He withdrew from political affairs, ignored warnings of unrest, and relied on a small circle of advisors who fed him only what he wanted to hear. By the time he realized the extent of the revolution brewing against him, it was too late. His isolation had made him powerless, and he lost both his throne and his life. How to apply this law? 1. Stay engaged in networks, whether in politics, business, or social circles. Staying connected gives you access to information, resources, and support. Do not withdraw when facing challenges. Instead, strengthen your ties with allies and keep an eye on your rivals. 2. Build strong alliances. Surround yourself with people who can provide protection, intelligence, and influence. A powerful network acts as a shield. Your enemies will think twice before attacking if they know you have strong connections backing you. 3. Control the narrative. When you isolate yourself, others will shape the story about you. Stay visible, engage with people, and ensure that you influence how you are perceived. The more you interact, the harder it is for enemies to spread false rumors or turn people against you. 4. Avoid becoming too dependent on one group. While connection is vital, relying too much on a single person or group can be dangerous. If they betray you, you will have nowhere to turn. Maintain a diverse network so that if one alliance breaks, others remain. The consequences of ignoring this law: isolation weakens influence, blinds you to threats, and makes you an easy target. Those who withdraw from society lose the ability to shape their destiny, as they are no longer part of the conversations that determine power. Instead of hiding behind walls, true leaders step into the arena, build relationships, and keep their power alive through engagement. Final thought: stay visible, stay powerful. A fortress may protect you from immediate threats, but it also locks you away from the very power you seek to maintain. Instead of retreating, move within the crowd, build strong connections, and ensure that you are always at the center of influence. Power belongs to those who stay engaged, not those who hide. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. In the game of power, not all enemies are equal. Some will brush off an insult, while others will hold onto a grudge for a lifetime, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. The greatest mistake one can make is underestimating someone's capacity for revenge. A single careless insult or slight against the wrong person can bring about your downfall. True power lies in understanding the nature of those around you, choosing battles wisely, and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. The danger of misjudging people. Imagine a young courtier eager to impress the king. He makes a joke at the expense of a seemingly unimportant noble, believing it to be harmless. The noble, however, is a man of deep pride and hidden influence. He does not react immediately, but quietly sets a plan in motion. Over the years, he spreads whispers of the courtier's disloyalty, turns powerful allies against him, and ensures his slow but certain downfall. By the time the courtier realizes what has happened, it is too late. Misjudging someone's personality and influence can lead to destruction. Some people are vengeful, some are indifferent, and some thrive on conflict. The key is to know who you are dealing with before making a move. The different types of people and how to handle them. To navigate power successfully, one must learn to read people. Different personalities react to offense in different ways. Knowing their nature allows you to either avoid unnecessary battles or prepare for an inevitable confrontation. 1. The proud and insecure. These individuals see every slight as a personal attack. They hold on to grudges and will go to great lengths to avenge even the smallest insult. Never directly confront them unless you are prepared for a war. Flatter them if necessary, or keep your distance. 2. The quiet and calculating. These are the most dangerous people. They do not react immediately, but instead plot their revenge over time. They are patient, strategic, and will strike when you least expect it. If you must offend them, make sure they are completely powerless to retaliate. 3. The hot-tempered and reckless. These individuals explode at the slightest provocation, often without thinking. While they can be dangerous in the short term, they are also predictable. If you must confront them, let them burn out their anger while you remain calm. 4. The forgiving and indifferent. Some people do not take offense easily and prefer to avoid unnecessary conflicts. They can be valuable allies, as they focus on bigger goals rather than petty grievances. These are the best kind of people to surround yourself with. Historical lessons from this law. The downfall of Napoleon's enemies. Napoleon Bonaparte was known for his sharp memory and ruthless nature. Many who underestimated him and insulted him in his early years found themselves destroyed when he rose to power. A careless slight against the wrong person cost them their careers, fortunes, and sometimes even their lives. The fatal mistake of Julius Caesar's assassins. Brutus and the conspirators who killed Julius Caesar believed they were eliminating a tyrant. What they failed to understand was that Caesar had the loyalty of the people and the army. By offending the wrong man, they sealed their own fate. Within months, Mark Antony and Octavian avenged Caesar, crushing the assassins completely. How to apply this law. 1. Study people before engaging with them. Before making a joke, criticizing, or opposing someone, understand their personality and power. Do they have a history of revenge? Are they influential? Can they be ignored, or must they be handled carefully? 2. Avoid unnecessary conflicts. Not every insult needs to be returned, and not every battle needs to be fought. Choose your conflicts wisely. Fighting the wrong person over something trivial can cost you more than you gain. 3. If you must offend, ensure the enemy cannot retaliate. Sometimes, confrontation is unavoidable. If you must attack, do so in a way that leaves the opponent completely powerless. A half-hearted attack or insult can provoke someone into a lifelong enemy. 4. Use flattery and diplomacy when necessary. Some powerful figures thrive on recognition and respect. Instead of creating an enemy, turn him into an ally through careful words and gestures of goodwill. The consequences of ignoring this law: many people have destroyed themselves simply by insulting or confronting the wrong individual. A single careless remark, a misplaced joke, or an underestimation of someone's influence has led to financial ruin, political exile, and even death. The wise understand that power is as much about knowing when to stay silent as it is about knowing when to strike. Final thought: pick your battles wisely. True power does not come from fighting every battle, but from knowing which battles to fight and which to avoid. Understanding people, their strengths, and their weaknesses is essential to survival. Offending the wrong person can be fatal, while respecting the right person can secure your success. Move carefully, speak wisely, and always know who you are dealing with. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. In a world where loyalty is often demanded, the true power player remains unattached. To commit to a person, group, or cause is to surrender a piece of your independence. It means placing your fate in someone else's hands, limiting your options, and becoming predictable. Those who remain free from commitment, on the other hand, hold the power. They keep others guessing, make themselves indispensable, and always have room to maneuver. The power of remaining independent. Imagine a ruler who is being courted by two rival factions. Each side offers rewards, promises, and loyalty in exchange for his support. Instead of choosing a side, the ruler keeps both parties hopeful, allowing them to compete for his favor. As long as he remains neutral, he holds the true power. The moment he commits, he is bound by obligations, expectations, and potential downfall if his chosen side loses. History is filled with those who rose to greatness by playing both sides. They thrived by making others depend on them while never depending on anyone themselves. The key to power is not in choosing a side, but in keeping all sides interested in winning you over. Why commitment is a trap. When you commit to someone, you give up your ability to move freely. You inherit their enemies, their struggles, and their weaknesses. The more invested you become in their cause, the less control you have over your own destiny. 1. Commitment limits your options. Once you declare loyalty to a side, your choices shrink. You must defend your allies even when they are wrong, and you must oppose their enemies even if it is against your interest. Freedom is lost when you allow others to dictate your actions. 2. Those who remain neutral hold the power. By refusing to commit, you make yourself valuable to all sides. People will seek your favor, offering you benefits, protection, and influence. Instead of being a pawn in someone else's game, you become the player who controls the board. 3. Commitment leads to exploitation. When you pledge loyalty, people assume they have secured your support. They may take you for granted, offer you less in return, and demand more from you than they give. Those who remain unattached, however, always leave others uncertain, ensuring they are treated with greater respect and caution. Historical examples of this law: Talleyrand, the master of neutrality. Charles Maurice de Talleyrand, the French diplomat, was an expert at remaining uncommitted. During the chaos of the French Revolution, the Napoleonic era, and the Bourbon Restoration, he always managed to stay in power. He served different rulers, but never bound himself too deeply to any of them. When one fell, he smoothly aligned himself with the next. Because he never fully committed, he was never dragged down by anyone's downfall. Queen Elizabeth I's game of marriage. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth I was courted by numerous European monarchs, each hoping for an alliance through marriage. She never accepted any of their proposals but kept the suitors interested for years. By doing so, she secured alliances, gifts, and diplomatic advantages, all while maintaining her independence and the power to rule England on her own terms. How to apply this law? 1. Never pledge absolute loyalty. Keep your options open. In business, politics, or personal life, avoid binding yourself to one person, cause, or organization unless absolutely necessary. 2. Keep people guessing by remaining neutral. You create an air of mystery and intrigue. People will try harder to win your favor and will treat you with more respect. 3. Let others fight while you observe. Often, conflicts arise between rival factions. Instead of picking a side, remain an observer. When the dust settles, align yourself with the victorious party, or use the weakened state of both sides to increase your own power. 4. Use commitment as a temporary tool. There may be times when a commitment is beneficial in the short term. However, always leave yourself an escape route. Never get so deeply involved that you cannot withdraw without consequences. The consequences of ignoring this law: many have fallen because they committed too soon or too deeply. Those who put their trust in a single ruler, party, or ideology often find themselves abandoned when power shifts. When Napoleon fell, many of his loyal generals were exiled or executed. When businesses fail, those who were blindly devoted to them lose everything. Final thought: be a free agent, not a pawn. Power belongs to those who remain adaptable. The world is full of shifting alliances, temporary friendships, and unpredictable outcomes. To commit to one side is to limit your possibilities. To remain independent is to keep control of your fate. Let others seek your loyalty, but never give it away completely. Stay fluid, stay mysterious, and always hold the upper hand. Thank you for watching Education Hub. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.